Sedona International Film Festival. I'm Carole Kahn, and we're coming to you live from the Sedona Rouge Hotel. I'm sitting here with Patrick Schweiss, the Executive Director of the Sedona International Film Festival in its 23rd year. So 23 years, oh my goodness.
Yeah, lots changed over that time.
Yes.
I'm in my 13th festival. When I took over, it was a 2.5-day festival, and now we're 9 days plus a kickoff night, so it's very, very fun.
And I do have to say that this is the very first time that you're sitting in this room.
I've never sat in the media room. I've never been interviewed at my own festival, thank God. But you corralled me into it now, so thanks so much.
And I get the distinct pleasure.
Aren't you honored?
I am. I'm
this
very
could be
honored.
a whole lot of fun for both of us.
Actually, it's entertaining already. Everybody missed at the beginning.
Thank God we weren't rolling.
Yeah. But I do have to say you are very entertaining, and watching you on stage, it just seems like you are so comfortable on stage. Even at every single opening, you talk in front of an audience in the movies and the Cloris Leachman piece, and it's always entertaining.
Well, thank you. When the festival comes, my heavy work is done. I produce the program, I book the films that the selection committee has submitted and everything. So by the time the festival rolls around, I'm in kind of coast mode and get to have fun. The rest of the staff goes crazy because they're doing all the ticketing and everything else. But for me, it then becomes all about the show and the filmmakers and honoring them as our true celebrities for the week, because the filmmakers really are our celebrities of the week.
Mm-hmm. And how difficult is it to actually get films every single year?
It's because of our track record and our reputation growing so much, it's gotten a lot easier in the last few years. It was very, very tough. I took over in year 11, so this will be my 13th festival. And back then, because we were so small, we could get films, but it was a little tougher. It would take me 3 or 4 months to be able to book a film because I didn't know what I was doing. We didn't quite have the reputation. Now, we're able to call and I'll have an answer in about 5 minutes. And we're able to pretty much get most of what we want, unless it's a distribution timing issue. But we get about 1,200 films in for submission, and then we take 160 to show at the festival. So it's a very, very competitive process. And we've got an amazing screening committee that weeds out the films and picks them, and then who I call the 3 queens, the heads of the selection committee: Connie Levinson, who does our documentaries, Carrie Oscar, who does feature narratives, and Denise Struby, who does shorts. So it's really a team effort and kind of a family effort.
How have you seen the festival change over the years since you've been on board?
Well, we've certainly gotten bigger. With the addition of course, Harkins expanded. 6 screens is our main venue, and we built our own Mary D. Fisher Theater 5 years ago. So we expanded by venues, and now we've got, for the last few years, we've had the extraordinarily wonderful Sedona Performing Arts Center, the 750-seat showpiece venue. So we've been able to expand not only in number of days, but in number of venues and how many people we can actually accommodate. So that's probably been the most significant change. That we're able to add more product, more live shows, more celebrity honorees, and those kind of things throughout the 9 days because we have the venue space to do it.
And what makes this year different from all the other years in the past?
Every year we ask ourselves that same question: what does make it different? And it's actually the content that makes it so different. Every year people come to us and say, how are you going to top this? How are you going to top this next year? Last year when we had the Chicago concert, people said, how are you ever going to top that? And Bruce Hornsby was every bit as wonderful or more this year, so we've topped it. We got Michael Feinstein coming in. The films, everyone says, how are you going to top the films? And already in day 4 of the festival, I've heard people say, I think this is your best year of films yet. So either we're getting better and better, or they're forgetting the year before and don't remember what they saw. But I'd like to think it's because we're getting better. And each year, so that's really the most significant change, is just that content really shapes our festival. And this year more than ever, we've got probably the strongest documentary lineup we've ever had. We're always strong in films, we're always strong in documentaries, but for some reason this year, these documentaries are resonating with people. I'm getting stopped more and more about a doc that people saw in the previous screening time or the night before. I'm getting beautiful emails sent in about how these films have already changed their lives in the first 3.5 days of the festival. So it's pretty significant. So that's probably the biggest. Each year, it's the content that drives what we're all about.
Mm-hmm. And this year in particular, we have some Oscar-nominated films.
We do, yeah. So we've got 2 of the Oscar nominees for Best Documentary Feature, I Am Not Your Negro and Fire at Sea, and then 2 of the Best Foreign Language Film Oscar nominees, Tony Erdmann and The Salesman. So we're very fortunate. Again, that's because of the reputation of our festival and our sophisticated audience. Just coming into this media room to do my interview, I was stopped by 4 filmmakers who said, our films have been in over 100 festivals. This is the most filmmaker-friendly festival. Your audiences are the most sophisticated. They had sold-out screenings for both of their shows. And so the world is noticing. And the more that we do that after the festival, hopefully social media is going wild with the buzz from filmmakers and audience members that you've got to go to Sedona, you've got to submit your film to Sedona, you've got to attend Sedona, that there's something very special that's happening here.
And how important, because we just also talked to a couple of filmmakers that had their world premiere here. So how important is that to filmmakers?
It's more important to the filmmakers than it is to us. You know, we don't care necessarily here at the film festival, Sedona Film Festival, about premiere status. The bigger festivals can get that. Sundance wants that, South by Southwest wants that, Telluride, Tribeca, Toronto, of course. They all want that premiere status. For us, it's all about just great films. We want to show films that are wonderful, films that are resonate, films that are going to make a difference. And whether they're premiering with us or whether they've shown in 85 or 185 festivals, that doesn't matter. We want to show them here. So premiere status is very important, probably more to the filmmakers than it is to us. We just want to show great films.
And I've heard you from time to time, you've always said that this is a filmmakers festival.
It is.
So, you know, and also in talking with some of them and being around them, it's really interesting that every single one of them has pursued their dreams, which this is why I love the festival and talking with them. So do you find that, do they share that with you?
They do. You know, we're very fortunate because I get hundreds of emails after the festival, you know, thanking us for how we treated the filmmakers, you know, with the VIP lounge and feeding them every day and the hotel rooms that they get, and how wonderful our audiences and our staff and our volunteers treat them. So that's very important to me for that feedback because that helps us the next year grow and grow and grow. And we do get a lot of that. And I'd like to take a lot of credit for it, but the credit is really due to this community. The hospitality industry donating us over 1,000 room nights to house our filmmakers, you know, the restaurants that feed these filmmakers. And have you seen a filmmaker eat? I'm just saying. No. But they do. They get 2 full meals, lunch and dinner, every day up in the VIP lounge. And again, we don't pay for that. The restaurants here in Sedona donate that because they know how important the film festival is to the community and to the economic impact here, and to the fact that the world is experiencing Sedona. So many of these filmmakers come back with future, you know, films at future festivals. Some have come back to shoot a film or 2 here in Sedona because they discovered it at our film festival. They come back here for vacations. They come back here to go hiking. They tell friends about it. So the impact of our festival goes far beyond just the 9 days of the festival week. So that's why it's very important for us that these filmmakers feel that way about us while they're here. So we do treat them like royalty, and we're very grateful to them.
And one of the other things that has impressed me about this film festival is that there are a lot of local filmmakers who have entered films into the film festival, as well as international films as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a really wonderful selection. We received a grant from the Arizona Community Foundation of Sedona to do a Connecting Cultures initiative. So we purposely went out and looked for more foreign language films this year, and hopefully that the filmmakers can come and experience it. So we've had, you know, filmmakers from Hong Kong, from Canada, from Spain, that were here in Mexico, London. So that helped us to bring these people here. So I always say that you can experience the world without ever leaving your theater seat. Because that's the kind of melting pot of films that we have here from all different countries. So our world cinema program is growing and growing and growing more and more. And this year locally, I mean, it's just been wonderful because we've got, you know, films like Aaron's Blood by 2 local filmmakers here, Reasons to Believe by Ben Fama Jr., and of course, Brian Reinhardt and Born to Be Wild. So, and again, all of these films, our screeners don't see necessarily where the films are coming from. So our local filmmakers are competing on an international scale. The films got in on their own merit. It wasn't because we knew Brian and his wife happens to be our box office manager. We know Ben, he's had films in the festival before. Jeremy Hawks was editing for him and things. So all these have a connection to the festival, but the films got in on their own merit. They stood up to the international films and the studio films that we were getting. And it just happened to be that they were local. And we love to feature local filmmakers, so it's really quite wonderful.
Now, do you get to watch all the films yourself?
I wish I could say I did. When I first started 13 years ago, I would run to the post office box every single day and I'd grab the films and look at them and suddenly realized you have to watch a lot of crap before you get to the good ones. And I thought, my time is better spent, you know, raising money for the festival and doing that kind of thing. So I really let the screening committee do what they do best. They weed out, you know, they pick the best films from among that crop. I'll watch them as they get to the end if they need a decision made. You know, there's a good percentage of the festival films I don't see because I've entrusted that committee and that process to make it what it is. So I get a lot of credit because I'm up there with the microphone, but it really is a credit to the committee and to the three queens, Connie, Carrie, and Denise. for really reading through and getting the final rundown. I bring in a lot of our high-profile events and films, so those are things that I've seen or I've scouted from other festivals around the country, but really the process is what works. What makes our festivals
Now,
good.
do you travel around to the other festivals just to see like what they are doing or to enhance
We do.
what we're doing here?
We do, and we do it as much as we can and as much as our budget will allow us to afford. You know, we get a lot of great films from, and we go to the Telluride Film Festival, the Heartland Film Festival in Indianapolis, the Port Townsend Film Festival. We try to find like-minded film festivals that are kind of like sister festivals to us. Traverse City, Michael Moore's Traverse City Film Festival, they're a sister festival of ours. We'll try to, as often as we can, send representation, and if we can't, we just work with their staffs to find out what the films were that really resonated with their audiences, because we have very similar audiences. So we do a lot of scouting, and it's paid off, because those are some of the ways that you can find some of the best films. And then what we do is we ask them to submit. You know, we've seen or heard about your film from the Traverse City Film Festival. Please submit, and they go through the rigorous process that the other films go through too. So it's a really wonderful process. So probably about 10-15% of our films in the lineup have been scouted, actively scouted, and the other 80-85% are ones that came through the process of submissions.
And one thing that we're doing new this year is that we're going live with our programming. So
It's a little scary.
yeah, a little.
For me, who can't control my mouth. So yeah, that's always interesting.
No swearing.
But it's yeah. So and which is a wonderful live component. You all, this wonderful media room that's here, and all of you have taken us global, literally taken us global. And you know, as I said the other night in one of my introductions, my sister from Minnesota, who's been to the last 10 festivals here, had a knee operation and couldn't come, regretfully, and was very sad about that. She's watching it live in Minnesota right now. So if my sister Barb is watching, hello Barb, your brother sends his love. We miss you here. And so it's been really quite fantastic that we can be seen. I'm getting texts and emails from people all over saying, oh my gosh, I just watched your opening night on live streaming. So it's very, very wonderful what you all have done for us in this media room, taking us global and taking us international.
That's awesome. And I do want to remind you that opening night, you did promise the whole entire audience and the globe that you wanted to do a Lady Gaga entrance. So I do need to mention that.
I know. I'm thinking, when is my Lady Gaga entrance? I want them to bring me down from the fly system at the Sedona Performing Arts Center. I think it's an insurance thing. They won't let me get up there. I don't understand.
That might be a good
but,
thing.
Trust me, this wouldn't be pretty in any Lady Gaga attire. So
It would be very interesting, but I don't know.
It might frighten people away from our festival.
True.
Yeah.
No offense.
I mean, I am unpredictable, but I would love to do that.
I know, I think you need to. I think you need to do maybe closing ceremonies or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. So Lady Gaga, if you're watching us on the live stream right now, just come. We'd love to have you at the festival. And Madonna.
And I would like to open up some questions to the media that we
Absolutely.
have here in the room. So
You have met so many stars. Is there anybody who just you were completely starstruck with? I mean, is there one person you're just, wow?
Yeah, well, and actually, it wasn't so much the wow factor, but the love factor. I was wowed by him. Jerry Stiller is one of the kindest, gentlest, most wonderful human beings on the planet. And he was so fun and so kind and so giving of his time and talents when he was here that I have to say that was probably my favorite. Again, I was wowed by him and I was awestruck by him, but mostly it was just because of the fact that he was so good to our audiences and so good to our people here, and he stayed extra days and had just such a great time. So I have to say I was very much awestruck by him.
So was that one of your favorite
Oh,
festivals,
yes.
or is there another one
Well,
that
we-
just really stands out as being the coolest yet?
Well, in the words of Jerry Stiller in his Hairspray appearance as Mr. Pinky, I hit the motherlode that year because we had Jerry Stiller, Ann Mira, Michael Moore, Connie Stevens, Ed Kooky Burns. We had just a plethora of all sorts of celebrity guests just descend on us in 9 days. I think Jane Seymour came that year too. Jane Seymour's delightful, and I loved her too. And all of these people, they've been really, really wonderful. But that was, we just had a particular year that all of the stars were aligned correctly, that everyone was coming and was able to make their schedules work. So it was really quite wonderful. Nicolas Cage was, I think, the following year, but Nicolas Cage was delightful and really wonderful with our audiences. You know, he was only in for 24 hours, but he was fantastic. So, and I have to say, I was pretty starstruck with Nick. So, good question.
Thanks.
yes, sure.
The film Chicago premiered here last year, and of course you had the concert. How did you feel when it made it onto CNN as
Oh, we were honored.
Huge deal.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. The Chicago documentary last year, we were the first to premiere it, and it was very special. They came and did the concert, of course, as you all know, and to see it on CNN, and it was actually deals that were struck because of their performance here. They saw that it won the Best of the Festival award, and so it gave them some leverage when they were going out to get distribution for the film. And it was phenomenal. We were getting calls and emails from all over the country and all over the world saying, "Wow, we just saw the documentary we saw at last year's festival is now on CNN. This was really quite wonderful." So that makes us feel good. Anytime that a filmmaker gets picked up for distribution as a result of either our festival or winning an award here, that's rewarding for us.
And of course, Tim Jessup, a local talent,
Tim Jessup,
worked on the
did sound mix
soundtrack,
on it.
and Mr. Lamb is a resident of Sedona too. So,
Oh yeah, so and Lee Loughnane, their trumpet player, their founding trumpet player, lives here. So there was a really wonderful connection to make that all happen. So yeah, it was wonderful.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey Pat, hey, I'm sure in the early days it was kind of trial and error when you first became executive director. Compare that time to you now. What have you learned over the years, and how have you gotten better with each year?
You're right. It was more error than trial, I can assure you. It was, when I first started, I didn't know anything about independent film. I didn't know what a film festival was. They hired me to help get the festival out of the dire financial straits that it was in. So I surrounded myself with people who knew, people who were smarter than me, because I didn't have the answers and didn't know what I was doing. So I learned. That first year was a real big learning curve. And most importantly, it was a learning curve in the fact that when you're going after a film, at that time I didn't know who I was supposed to go after. So I was calling, of all people, agents, trying to get connected to the films. And agents love agents, if there's any agents watching, but they can't help me get what I want to get from the films. I need to go to the distributor. And it literally took me probably 9 months to realize that. I would struggle and struggle and struggle just to get a connection for a film. And once I realized that's not who you're supposed to ask for the films, now it's a very, very easy task. And again, now that we have the relationships with these distributors and with filmmakers, because of our year-round presence at the Mary D. Fisher Theater, our year-round art house venue, we're able to get things much, much simpler. I know who I can call and say, we'll absolutely let you have your film. When I Am Not Your Negro got nominated for an Academy Award this year, Magnolia Pictures loves us. I knew I could make one phone call to Neil at Magnolia Pictures, and in 2 minutes I'd have it approved, and we did. I knew that Tony Erdmann with Sony Classics. One call to Elizabeth Dunn at Sony Classics, it'd be booked and done. And it was. So those are the kind of things that I've learned, and those connections. I've also attended the Art House Convergence up in Utah right before Sundance, which is a gathering of art house theater owners and managers. And now they've added a film festival component to it. And it's the single most important thing that I attend each year, other than our film festival, because that's where all the connections are made. You get a face-to-face with all the distributors, with the newest, hottest indie film producers and things there, and it makes getting films and that learning curve much, much simpler. That's definitely been it for the most. Thank you, Ron. That's a good question.
Patrick, where do you want to take the festival? Where would be your be-all, end-all that you would love to see the festival grow to?
I really want to see the festival grow to where there's, we have a lot of sold-out shows now, but where we can grow is just getting all of the shows completely sold out. That's, we can't really grow number of day-wise here in Sedona because we've really tapped out the generosity of our hospitality industry, because we're nestled right there at the very end of a dead time of the year, the dead end of the winter season. But if I move the festival 1 week later, it gets into spring break time, and I lose all of our hotels. So I really can't do any expansion on that. Where I see us being able to expand, and where I'd like to take this, is possibly branching off into some smaller festivals throughout the year and having a documentary fest, for example. Again, not 9 days, but maybe a long weekend, 4-day weekend or something like that, where we bring in the top documentaries from around the world. Bring in specialty workshops and visiting filmmakers who can do residencies here. I think that's where we can grow to, and that's where we can expand to, because the festival is pretty much expanded to what it can be. So our way of growing is to make it more year-round, since we have the Mary Fisher Theater already, but taking and making the mini festivals happen throughout the year. A Shorts Film Fest, for example. We had so many, going back to the documentaries, we had so many wonderful documentaries this year, we could have programmed 2 festivals worth of just documentaries. We turned away probably 80 really great docs that we just didn't have room for in the film festival lineup.
And that's one of the beautiful things about the Mary Fisher Theater, is that you do all year round run documentaries or movies or films.
Yeah, it's kind of fun because we always think that, I always call it my new toy I got for Christmas. We can do whatever we want in the Mary Fisher Theater because it's ours. And if it doesn't work, we don't do it again. If it works, we do more of it. We can experiment, we can play, we can have a little bit of fun. We're the location for the New York Film Critics Series, the Met Live Opera, National Theatre of London, the ballets from the Bolshoi and other ballet houses around the world. So we've got a lot of great things that we're doing, that we're going to be doing the TED Talk series starting in May. So there's a lot of great things that we can do. And again, because we own the theater, we can do those things and experiment a little bit. So that's really given us a way of launching and becoming that bigger entity.
Patrick, I want to thank you, and on behalf of the media here in the room as well, we have the honor of interviewing you for the first time.
It may be 13 years before you all see me again, just saying.